Hey, subscribe.
The industry took over Pop Smoke's album. I actually have yet to listen to his latest album, uh, but I do know there's a shit ton of features on that. And personally, like, without listening to the album yet, I am not really excited because, like, the man has passed away, right? And they're really just milking out the last bits of music they can get for him. It's the exact same thing they did with X. When he passed away, he had leftover music that was unreleased. They really pulled together the scraps and put a shit ton of features on it, and people weren't really messing with that. And I don't think people feel the same way about Pop Smoke's album. So, anyways, let's get into the video.
No, this is just straight up sad, man, honestly. This new Pop Smoke album is a disgrace to his discography. I don't know what other way to put it. What we have right here is a situation where the industry has essentially taken over Pop Smoke's album. Hate to say it, but it's the truth. I have a couple things
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it.
to say about this new Pop Smoke album, though. So, yeah. Let's talk about it. Now, first things first, rest in peace to Pop Smoke, like always. Definitely
Rest
a
in
rapper who I
peace.
think would be doing some great things if he was here right now. It's hard to not think about what kind of levels he would have reached hadn't he been taken away so young. With that being said, gotta talk about this new Pop Smoke album, man. And unfortunately, it's not because I have too many good things to say about it. The other day, we got a new Pop Smoke album titled Faith. This serves as the second posthumous Pop Smoke album. The first one was, of course, Shoot for the Stars.
It's the second one, man. I mean, like, the first one, I understand he might have been working on it, and then, like, he passed when it was in production. But, like, the second one, man, was already gone.
Aim for the Moon, which dropped a little over 1 year ago. Now, this new Pop Smoke album, Faith, what's the verdict on it? Well, it's a bad one.
Ah,
Kind
man.
of hurts that I even have to come on here and say a bunch of negative things about a project the man himself, Pop Smoke, had nothing to do with. And what hurts the most is knowing the fact that this album would have not sounded the way it sounded had he been here. If you've been on
Exactly. Like, if he was alive, this album probably wouldn't even be called what it is.
social media the past 48 hours at all, then you probably know that the album hasn't gotten the best reception, which is not surprising at all. Listening to this new Pop
Not
Smoke
at all.
album got me a little bit heated, I can't even lie. I went into this project wanting to hear Pop Smoke, but all I really got was a bunch of other artists. 20% of this new Pop Smoke album is actually Pop Smoke himself. The remaining 80% is the features. This is a 20-track album with only 6 of those being solo Pop Smoke records. Also keep in mind that 1 out of
That is so whack, man.
those 6 is an interlude. The remaining 14 songs on this album are slapped with a bunch of features, a lot of them being completely pointless, not because the songs themselves are bad, but because you can clearly hear how overly drawn out the project was with the help of those features. This album sounds so stretched out, it's not even funny. I put up this tweet on Twitter yesterday saying this new Pop Smoke album is like 20% Pop Smoke and 80% features. I want to hear Pop Smoke on his own album, not a bunch of other artists. This is me just venting, speaking my mind as I see it, but I got a lot of responses from people saying, the man is dead. What do you expect from a posthumous album? Stop complaining.
What do you mean, what do you expect? How about you just don't make the album in the first place?
And there's a lot of people who share this perspective on not only posthumous albums in general, but this album specifically. Where I think a lot of people go wrong is not realizing that for a posthumous album to be a thing, it doesn't have to be overly drawn out like this Pop Smoke album was. Pop Smoke's album has 20 songs with only
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Like, the thing is, like, it's so drawn out. It's literally just a cash grab for the industry and his company and his record label.
6 of those being solo Pop Smoke records. Where they went wrong here is the fact that they're clearly desperately trying to piece together a Pop Smoke album where the majority of the project isn't Pop Smoke himself. This is the direction the industry is unfortunately going in with posthumous projects. The big issue with a lot of these albums is instead of dropping, let's say, a 10-track album that sounds complete, meaning they take a bunch of songs Pop Smoke recorded while he was here, right? Take those songs and package that into a complete album. That's not what's going on here. What they're now doing is taking these unfinished songs, taking all the pieces apart, taking some vocals here and there from that song and slapping that over this instrumental that might go along with his voice on this other incomplete song. So what they're essentially doing is they're taking a bunch of incomplete pieces of music, trying to piece that together by clearly forcing it, and whatever percentage that's remaining in order for that song to be 100%, they fill that void with features. So now we have a situation where Pop Smoke's discography is getting watered down because the industry is getting greedy as hell. These posthumous albums are completely
Shit is so trash, bro.
throwing the concept of a creative vision in the garbage. As far as they, in this case the label who's in charge of
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought my video was in less than 720p.
all this. As far as they know, they have one task that needs to be complete, which is put together a Pop Smoke album, and that is the issue here. We're trying to complete this task without considering what the actual end result is gonna be. We're forgetting that Pop Smoke was an artist who was very strategic with his features. He wasn't a collab with any and every artist I can reach kind of rapper. He just wasn't. I mean, take a look at his first project, Meet the Woo. Meet the Woo had 0 features on it. Now the deluxe ended up having 2 features.
Pop Smoke didn't even like doing features with people, right? Like there was this one interview. He was like, he don't do songs with other people. He just don't like people, and like for his record label to go against that, it's just so shitty.
Nikki is one of those features. She was on a Welcome to the Party remix, and the other feature is Skepta, who was on a second edition of the Welcome to the Party remix. And then Meet the Woo 2 had 5 features on it. That was a 13-track project with 8 of those being solo Pop Smoke songs. The deluxe edition ended up having 3 additional features, so make that 8. Whatever artistic vision Pop Smoke had for the music he recorded while he was still alive, that's now getting thrown out the window. We're not really considering the fact that he didn't really collab with any and every single artist out there, are we? Pop Smoke ain't the first rapper who's unfortunately gone through this, though. We've all seen what happened to XXXTentacion's legacy. Now, what happened to X is a whole nother level. We're not talking strictly the music in that case. We're talking X's entire legacy getting stained because of how it was handled after his death. As far
from music to merch to NFTs, bro.
As the music, though, we've all seen the contrast between the music X dropped while he was still alive and how the music sounded in all those posthumous albums. It's a night and day difference, and it's sad that it even got to that point. I think the late Juice WRLD's legacy has been handled great, nothing to say there for the time being. I also think Lil Peep's legacy is a textbook example of how a deceased artist's
Yeah, we actually haven't seen that much posthumous like talks about Juice WRLD or Lil Peep. I know there's like songs that people already had planned with him that were just like getting ready to be released, but like aside from that, there wasn't really anything that came out after these people's death that was like widely controversial compared to like Pop Smoke and X.
Legacy should be handled. The same also goes for Mac Miller. They've been doing
Mac Miller too.
Mac Miller's legacy. As for Pop Smoke, there hasn't been anything to criticize up until this point. I still think Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon had a little too many features for my taste, but the thing about that project is it actually sounds finished. It doesn't sound drawn out. The features don't sound forced.
I think it comes down to like the labels and like the families behind these people. Cause like I'd say between like Mac Miller, Juice WRLD, and Lil Peep, their record labels actually respect their artists. When it comes to Pop Smoke and X, they literally do not care. They just milk the fuck out of them.
Actually complimenting Pop Smoke on that project. It's only a problem when we have a situation like the one we have right now, where the deceased artist, in this case Pop Smoke's artistic vision, gets overshadowed by the label's need and greed to drop this album. As long as the actual music doesn't get compromised, we won't have a problem. But the second we start
I've been to that Peppers, by the way.
Hearing it in the music, that's when it becomes a problem. You get me? A couple other things I want to bring up. Number one, and this is kind of shocking, the people who are closest to Pop Smoke, at least one of them, had no clue an album was even dropping.
That's
one of
fucked.
Pop Smoke's close friends said this on Instagram yesterday. For anybody saying, why did I let anybody drop this or that? He's referring to the album, of course. I had no involvement in my dog's album. I didn't even know an album was dropping until it got broadcasted on the internet. I'm upset my damn self because I know he wouldn't even want it like this.
That's
one of
fucked, bro.
Closest friends talking about, had he been here today, he would have never even co-signed this album himself. Let's also talk about the fact that UK producer 808 Mello, who produced some of Pop Smoke's biggest records, was left out of the creation of this album. He put up this tweet on Twitter yesterday and said, "Don't complain to me about the album. I had no involvement in it, and you guys know that." Obviously, a lot of people were going to him all confused. Obviously, because he worked with Pop Smoke while he was still alive. People were going to him looking for answers after the release of the album, asking, "What is this? Why does the album sound like this?"
It's so trash, bro. I feel like when an artist dies, there's no reason for an album to come out if there wasn't one already underway.
Definitely got an issue when the man himself, who helped Pop Smoke build the foundation of his entire sound, gets left out of creating one of his projects. At this point, I'm confused, man, and it's kind of sad that it's gotten to this point. This new Pop Smoke album is essentially the industry hijacking Pop Smoke's own album. Pop Smoke was a damn feature on his own album. He wasn't the highlight. I think considering how much money is actually not only in the music business, but the business of posthumous projects in general, at this point, these kinds of things are to be expected.
This just goes to show, like, with this whole music industry and shit, the artist is just a face. Sure, that's their voice, but everything is the fucking industry. Everything is the label. They can do whatever they want, so long as you sign the right contracts.
And it sounds strange even saying that, because are you telling me the industry is now somehow slowly but surely normalizing profit over the art as it relates to the legacy of these artists? That's unfortunately the direction we're headed in, and ain't a damn thing we can do about it. With that being said, I think we all have the right to be at least a little upset. I don't want anything but to see the legacy of Pop Smoke or
I only pause to look at his hairline. This man just reminded me I need a haircut.
any of our fallen soldiers stay intact and get treated with the utmost care. I'd be lying to myself if I said that I didn't see something like this coming. At the end of the day, there's money to be made here, so that's always going to be the focal point of these posthumous albums. If they can make these albums sound at least a little bit decent with whatever incomplete pieces of music they have at their disposal, 9 times out of 10 they're going to proceed with that and try to fill in the blanks with a bunch of features. It is what it is. What can you do? But yeah, the industry
That's so
has
trash,
taken over
bro.
Pop Smoke's album. We got 20.
Like, that shit is just so forced. I hate it. Like, it's actually like it's honestly disgusting. Like, we need we need some kind of like protest for artists.